Remember, folks, I'm just a Muppet in a chair. Don't take me seriously. Yo, what's up, Boomerites? How we doing? It's good to see you. Welcome back to the channel. I'm King Boomer. And today, we're going to react to something that I found. This is called We Visit America. And, did I say that? We Visited America, and this is what we hated. I have been asked by subscribers, like, what places would you recommend in the United States to visit? And almost every time I usually mention two places. First, if you're looking for a city to visit, I highly recommend New Orleans. New Orleans is a fantastic city, very vibrant with the music and the party atmosphere. Everybody's looking to have a good time. It's just and it's a city that looks way different from all the other cities in America. So, and the food, oh man, the food, as you can tell, is quite good there. Me and Queen Boomer are actually planning on visiting New Orleans in the next year or two, whenever we get around to it, and if we have time. The second place, it's not really a particular specific place, but I always tell people to go somewhere out west, like the old fabled West, places like, Montana, Idaho, Colorado, even in the Southwest, Arizona. I mean, anywhere out west where you can see the ranching culture and, the lifestyle out there, I think, and the stunning sights of the landscape out there. It's just unmatched anywhere else in America, and I think you guys would really enjoy it. So those are the two. Other than that, I go, whatever's, because it's always, what you're really into. Some people like cities more than, rural areas. I tend to avoid cities as much as I can. I'm not a city person. So when people ask me, like, what about New York or Los Angeles, I don't tend to recommend those. And for those of you who have followed the channel for quite some time, probably know why, since you guys know me a little bit. But this video that I'm reacting to, it comes from The Honest Guide. So this is my first time coming across his channel. So I'll put a link in the description below this video so you guys can check out Honest Guide's channel on your own afterwards if you want to. But we visited America, and this is what we hated. So I'm hoping New Orleans is not on here, for one, because I love that city. My favorite city in my country. But there might be some in here that I agree with. Usually because there's been videos before that I've reacted to where people are criticizing America, and some of the time I find myself agreeing with a lot of what they said. Usually not every time, but there's some things that maybe you guys don't like about America, I don't like about America, and I live here, so I probably don't like it more. But there's some things that I disagree with too, but it'll be interesting to see what this video pertains, where he went. It looks like he's starting off in Times Square in New York City, which is not my favorite place. So I might agree if he doesn't like that place. But let's react to it. Like, subscribe, do whatever you guys want. And let's see what Honest Guide has to say about the places he visited. Here we go. Here we go.
Most people love this place and love this spot. I actually consider it to be one of the worst spots in New York and the United States. Here's a couple more.
I respect that he said it there. He didn't add the voice afterwards. He said it in the camera, in the middle of Times Square. I respect that.
A born and raised European, and I also run a show called The Honest Guide, so I try to be honest about things. So here are 5 places I absolutely hate in the United States of America. Please don't cancel my visa. The fabulous Las Vegas.
Really?
Now, it is a place, a city that almost everyone who roams the West Coast will visit eventually. And it's also a place that we all know from the movies, from the blockbusters, from Ocean's 11, from pretty much any movie that takes place in casino. So when we visit, we're like, oh yes, let's go to a casino. And there's a shocker the minute you walk in. The one I noticed when I was 21 and I walked into a casino in Las Vegas, I was like, whoa, what's that smell? Why is everyone smoking? What the hell? I didn't see that in the movies. Now seriously, show me a movie that portraits someone in a casino in Las Vegas where they are smoking and there's ashtrays full of ash next to them. I've never seen that, so that's the reality. Now look at the people around you in the casino. They don't look anything like Danny Ocean or Matt Damon or Ben Affleck. They look like the type of people that like to be in rooms without windows where it's okay to smoke, drink, and waste your money.
Okay, as I've never been to Las Vegas, but one thing I have been to is plenty of casinos. I used to work in the casino industry, and in the casino that I worked in for a few years, there was no smoking inside. They had a smoking room, but there was no smoking inside. Smoking, it all depends on what state you are currently in. Some states have banned smoking indoors. I feel like most of them have, but some of them still haven't. In the state where I'm from, Maryland, they have banned smoking indoors. It has been banned for quite some time. Here in the state of Florida, where I currently live, it's kind of like a half ban. They have banned new places from being from having indoor smoking, but if you have an establishment that has been up and running since before that law was enacted, you can be grandfathered in where you can allow smoking inside. So there is that. There are still some places, even right down the road from me, that allow you to smoke indoors. They're usually like dive bar type places, which is what we call them, hole in the walls. They're like small, what you call pubs, that not a lot of people go to. Well, you know, on rowdy nights, there's a lot of people there, so there is that. But so I can't speak about Las Vegas per se, but what he's talking about here with the casino environment, there's so many people in casinos that are there all the time, and they're not good company. They don't want to be bothered, and it's probably because they have a gambling addiction. I've seen it. It's sad to see. But casinos attract people like that, so I get what he's talking about when it comes to that.
That's the real experience, not the Ocean's 11. All right, let's get out of the casino because I'm sure the world is much better on the outside. No, it actually gets worse. Now, you've heard of the Strip. It looks amazing in the movies, right? Especially from a helicopter. But once you get down to the Strip, you realize it's not like a huge walking pedestrian zone. No, it's a freaking highway. That's what it is. And you're unable to cross it unless you walk into one casino, go through the hallways, get lost in that casino, then eventually you find a walkway across that 27-lane highway, and you end up in another casino.
Yep,
so
it's designed that way on purpose.
See from your window, from a
keep
place
you
where
in the
you're standing.
casino,
If
baby.
you want to get over there, it may take like 20 minutes. Now, I'm from Europe, from a town of Prague where we can walk. So if we see something, we can usually walk directly to it. That is exactly the opposite in Las Vegas. I remember getting lost in these gigantic, enormous parking lots, garages, back doors, back entrances. We were the only people walking around from place to place. It was just weird. Sorry for the Hey Las Vegas, let me say something positive, and that is, we're moving on to the next place. Disney World.
Oh boy,
I've only been
okay.
once, but let me tell you the story. So there I am, and I figure out that it's not just one park, it's multiple parks, and I'm there for a day, so I ask when I'm buying the tickets, hey, is it possible to visit all the parks in one day?
No.
The lady says, of course, you can visit all the parks, you just need to buy the proper ticket. That will cost you $250. I'm like, all right, that's a lot of money, but if I am able to visit all the parks, let's do it. It was during Christmas time, 2011, and
Wow, there's Disney World has so many parks. You will not be able to see everything in all of them in one day. You will not. It is to see all the parks in Disney. That takes about a week. And I haven't been to Disney World in a very long time, but even I know that, man, you could spend all day in just one of their many parks, and you will not see everything.
I figured, hey, it's Christmas. I guess people will be home, right, with their families. Nobody's going to go to amusement parks. Boy, that was a mistake. First of all, when it's Christmas time, people do go to amusement parks. I mean, like all of them. Second fact, you cannot visit all the parks and actually enjoy them in one day. That was a very, very bad move on my side. So for $250 times 2, I had a girlfriend back then, I spent the entire day only using the monorail, taking the path between the different parks and standing and waiting in lines. It was a horror show.
Yeah.
As you can tell from the pictures I took back during that day, I was not a happy kid. By the way, when you enter Disney World, it says by the entrance, happiest place on earth, which is a lie, because if you Google happiest place on earth, you'll find Finland.
Oh, really?
So if you're a family of 4, you live somewhere in the United States, and you want to have a really great experience and save a lot of money, don't go to Disney World, go to Finland. If you're going...
honest God, I don't know who... He might have said his name in the beginning, but he speaks very, very good English, to the point where it would take me a while to figure out that he's not American, honestly. He speaks very, and it's just the slightest hint of an accent for me. So I'm very impressed by that. But Disney World, for me, I like that Disney World is on this list, but for a whole nother reason. I think I've said it before, but I'm a big Star Wars fan, or at least I was. But ever since Disney acquired Star Wars and started putting out Star Wars stuff, it has been flaming hot garbage. And it's made me not watch any more Star Wars stuff. So it's like, you guys may have a particular show or franchise that you liked, and then it just all went to complete shit. That's how I feel about Star Wars, and I love the original trilogy. I like the prequels. Some people have major problems with the prequels. I have my own problems with them, but I like them a lot. But once Disney took it over, Star Wars has never been the same, and I am worried it will never recover until Disney gets rid of it. But when does Disney get rid of anything? So I will not visit any Disney parks specifically because they ruined one of my favorite franchises of all time, probably my favorite franchise of all time. So that's my beef with Disney. Their parks are fun, but I haven't been there in quite some time. But I don't want to give them any money. And the ticket prices are astronomical, as you saw, $250 just to get in there.
Going to San Francisco, be sure to avoid some streets. Once again, San Francisco is portraited as this amazing, beautiful city, the Golden Gate Bridge, the beautiful houses, and so on and so on. We know it as kids from TV shows, but lately, especially during my last visit, I was surprised. Some streets especially has changed to basically a camping grounds for homeless people, to the point where you're unable to walk those streets, and you're, I don't want to say scared, but it's really weird. Now, I understand this issue goes deeper, and it's easy to talk about it when I'm thousands of miles away, but I'm from a big city, we have homeless people, but if the homeless people would decide to build tents and block streets where we need to walk, somebody would probably solve that issue. I mean, I hope. So to me, that was a bit of a shocker on the latest visit, and I can imagine other people visiting San Francisco picturing it from the movies or TV shows they saw, and then facing the reality, maybe a bit of a shock.
Okay, so I've never been to San Francisco. However, this is a problem. The homeless problem in San Francisco is something that is talked about all across the country. San Francisco seems to be like have the biggest homeless person problem in the country at the moment. Not that I have any solutions for any of that, but it is well known. The thing I will say about San Francisco is I have a sister. Laura, if you're watching, hello. But she lived in New York for many, many years, probably about 20 years, and she moved to the West Coast, and she moved to San Francisco. And she was probably there for less than a year, and she moved across the bridge to Oakland. And I don't want to put words in her mouth or speak for her or anything, but she basically hinted to me that San Francisco was just abysmal, and she didn't like living there at all. So she moved across the bridge to Oakland to get away from San Francisco. So maybe there's more than just a homeless problem there, because my sister she's a city person. She loves every type of city there is. And I'm shocked that she didn't like San Francisco. So maybe there's more to it than just the homeless problem.
New York City, Times Square. Now,
okay,
if you're
I can
a
agree with
first-time
this
visitor
one.
to New York City, most likely you'll end up on this square thinking that it represents New York City. It does, but I guess only on postcards. Times Square is nothing what it was like back in the days. I just recently visited with my dad, and my dad said, well, where are all the peep shows, and where's that? New York City, you know? It's just Starbucks and McDonald's and stores I don't know, because they're new chain stores. And on top of that, because you're not the only tourist there, all the tourists are there, it attracts a lot of scammers. So you get the fake monks from Tibet trying to build something in Chinatown, which is an utter lie. They're not from Tibet, they're not monks. You have those guys handing out the free CDs that suddenly cost $20. And last but not least, going back to Disney, you have those characters that mingle around, and when your kid wants to take a picture with Spider-Man, suddenly 25 other characters will show up and they'll demand $10 each for that photo.
Wow.
And I was also filming an interview with the people that were crossing Times Square, and I was asking them a simple question. Are you from New York City?
No.
Excuse me, are you from New York City?
No.
No, not in Times Square.
No.
Okay. Okay. The one guy that was from New York City, I think, told me to fuck off.
Oh yes. Yeah, that's a real New Yorker right there, dude. Oh, for sure he was from New York. Fuck off. Oh, that's great. I love it. Okay, yeah, I'm not a New York City fan. Like I said, my sister lived there. My brother lived there for a long time too. They love New York City, but I'm not a fan. But I'm not a fan of a lot of cities, like I said. However, when it pertains to, I guess he's specifically talking about Times Square. So a lot of the elderly generation, I don't know. If people who are like 50 years old and older, I would say, right around that time frame, they know what Times Square was before it became so commercialized and corporations kind of took over that area of New York, and they hate it with a passion. They absolutely hate it, and they will get so animated and upset about it that it sounds like they're yelling at you if they're talking to you about it, because they remember the old Times Square, which was dirty, grungy, and it felt like, you know, it felt authentic in a dirty kind of way, and they loved it. So I know what he's talking about with that. And yeah, the people 50 and older who remember that Times Square will tell you, like, man, you should have seen it back when it was real. So he's very much onto something when it comes to Times Square based on that description. Yes.
Now, if there's one worse place that I probably would hate even more in New York than Times Square, it would be Times Square on New Year's. And I actually do know a person that did it, went to Times Square with, 1.5 million people to be stuck in this small place to wait for a ball to drop. And that's Hanzo behind the camera. How was it, Hanzo? Something you don't want to repeat. Okay, I understand that. It was an experience. Okay. Times Square is changing. It used to be packed with cars. It still is, but parts of it are becoming a pedestrian zone. So that's a light at the end of the tunnel. McDonald's. Why would this guy hate McDonald's? Well, no, let me explain. I don't hate it, but if I compare it to what McDonald's looked like in Europe or in our country, the Czech Republic, it was a bit of a shock for me when I was in the US and I entered McDonald's. I was like, whoa, it's kind of dirty here and it's like weird. Why is everything so old? We're used to McDonald's being new. I mean, the first McDonald's in our country opened in the 90s, and therefore most of them are much newer than the ones in US. Also,
Okay.
for us, when we were kids, that was really something to go to Mickey D's. I mean, it was expensive. We would really have to talk our dads to, getting us chicken McNuggets and buying that extra sauce because you have to pay for it here. Unlike in US, it's like, junk food. So now we're gonna be sued by Disney and McDonald's.
Wait a minute. Did he just say that you have to pay for the sauce?
Nuggets and buying that extra sauce because you have to pay for it here. Unlike in US,
You
it's
have to
like,
pay for the
junk
extra sauce. Where did he go to McDonald's? Now, I'm betting that he went to a McDonald's in a city. Probably, by the sound of it, either New York City or San Francisco. But, no, I've never had to pay for extra sauce at any McDonald's. And trust me, I've been a frequent customer of McDonald's. I love McDonald's. I know it's bad for me, but I just can't get over their fries because it's like crack. Okay? I love their French fries. There's no other French fry in the world that is better than a American McDonald's French fry. Okay, but I've never heard of paying for extra sauce in a McDonald's. Never heard of it. In fact, the next time I go to McDonald's, which I'm currently trying to watch what I eat, and I'm back to working out again. Not to pat myself on the back. I'm just tired of looking at this thing. Next time I do go to McDonald's, which it'll probably be in a couple weeks, I am going to order extra sauce and see if they charge me for it, just to make sure. Because I've never heard of paying for extra sauce at McDonald's. That is absurd to me. So I think he definitely went to a McDonald's in New York or San Francisco.
So now we're going to be sued by Disney and McDonald's. So it's not really I hate it, it's just a disappointment from what McDonald's look like in US compared to Europe. I mean, we have McDonald's that look like this, or this, or this.
We do too.
Or have you seen the McDonald's in Paris? Wow. So
That's
here's
a really
tip for
nice
you.
one, yeah.
When you visit Europe, Finland most likely, because it's the happiest place on earth, go to McDonald's.
We do have nice McDonald's though. I mean, I think he went to a bad one in a very very expensive city. That's what I'm thinking.
Absence of city centers. Now, once again,
Okay.
not really a thing I hate, but it's a shock. Like, if you go to any city in Europe or in our country, the Czech Republic, you name it. Hansa, give like 5 random pictures of a city center in our country. Here you go. They all have a square, there's usually a church, there's a
Okay.
city hall, there's people walking around, there'll be like a restaurant, a coffee place, the post office, and so on. You know it's the city center because it's in the center, right? But if you Google downtown LA, you get this picture. Why is it so from far away? Like, why don't you show us what it looks like down there? Oh, maybe you don't want to share that, do you, huh? So the absence of a square in the middle of the city is something we don't understand. Like, if we go visit a city we've never been to, where do you start? Well, you start on the square. You go to the city hall that is opened and you ask them, you get a map, and then you walk your way around. That's kind of sad.
That's interesting.
And on top of that, there are places like San Diego that has the old town. I was once brought there by my friends who live there, and they're like, you gotta see the old town of San Diego. So I was like, all right, so San Diego, the old town will be right in the middle, right? No, it's basically a tourist attraction on the outskirts of the town. Imagine the old town of Prague. Like, it's just like, where's the old town? Oh, so like you take exit 7. There's a huge parking lot. You get on this tourist train. Just the fact that if you Google Old Town San Diego, all the pictures you find look like a Disneyland. So every US city is either a picture of postcardish skyscrapers, or it's that one long street with different businesses on the side with gigantic parking lots. There's also that cartoon map of every European city. It looks like this. And I also just found out that there is an every American city cartoon map, and it looks like this. But that being said, being different is awesome, right? That's why we love to travel to discover new places. And I'm not expecting United States to look same as Europe, and Americans are probably not expecting Europe to look same like United States.
Here's the thing, though. Like, that thing about the city center thing, I think he's right. I don't remember being in any American city where there's like a big square area like that in the middle. So he's probably right about that, which is very interesting. But when it comes to what I said at the beginning of the video, like, I try to recommend a more a place that is not highly populated in America, like the West, where you have all this landscape and stuff. I feel like when people tend to visit the United States, they tend to visit only the cities. And funnily enough, because I will eventually want to make it over to the United Kingdom and Ireland and fuck it, all of Europe. You know, I want to see all these places too. But I don't just want to visit the cities. And I've had subscribers tell me when I've discussed planning a trip to the United Kingdom, they said, don't just visit the cities. In fact, like, it seems like half the people say, don't go to London. I am going to go to London, but I don't just want to see London, because London is not the United Kingdom. It is one city in the United Kingdom. Spread out, go to the countryside. That's what I want to do. I want to meet people in a small, English town, a small Scottish town, whatever. It's, for me, the cities are not the country. You know what I mean? And I feel like, not to criticize Honest Guide or anything, this is a wonderful video. But I feel like he only visits cities. You know what I mean? Get out in the countryside and talk to some people. And they will, and here's the thing, I think they will actually appreciate that you went out there and talked to them and not just hung out in the city, you know? Anyway, that's my 2 cents for that, but
so that's why we travel, and if you happen to travel our way into our city, which is the Prague of Czech Republic,
I would love
we'll
to
be
go
more
to
than
Prague,
happy.
yes.
We run this show that is called The Honest Guide. Most of the time we spend either showing you cool venues in the city or catching scammers. So on your way to the happiest place on earth, which is not Disney World, Finland, please make a layover in Prague. We'll be more than happy to welcome you here. That was the two of us, The Honest Guys. Hansa behind the
I would
camera.
love to go to Prague, dude.
Bye-bye.
That was a good video. I like that a lot. Honest Guide, I'll put his description and the link for his channel into the description below this video. Very good video. I agree with the Times Square thing. And a lot of older Americans would very much agree with what he had to say about Times Square, because it used to be a different place that they loved. It was much dirtier and more authentic. Their words, not mine. Of course, I'm not old enough to remember the old Times Square. But very informative video. McDonald's, I love it or hate it. I love it. I understand. It kind of bugs me that I haven't been to San Francisco or Las Vegas. The Las Vegas one, I totally understand what he meant about the people in the casinos. You see all sorts of strange people in casinos, man. But the San Francisco one, that when he talked about the homeless people everywhere, that is a national issue. It feels like San Francisco has made their problem a national issue here in the States. Not to get political or anything, but everyone's aware of it. So hopefully they can resolve that issue. I don't know how, but hopefully they can resolve it somehow. So yeah, I think he was, and some people, I've seen videos where some people visit the United States and they notice certain things, and I'm like, well, that's not completely the way it is. I think he just had a bad experience, but most of what he had in his video seemed very legit. So not much to criticize about. Although the only thing I would tell him is, like, spread out, get in the countryside a little more, and don't just visit the cities, because New York City does not represent the United States of America. San Francisco does not represent the United States of America. There's all these towns and places you can visit that even the people there would very much appreciate you visiting. So, and again, if you're watching this right now and you want recommendations, if you want a city, New Orleans. If you want a region, go out west to the Rocky Mountains, Montana, Idaho, Colorado, places like that. The Dakotas. The Dakotas are beautiful. It's just stunning. You feel very humble just looking at the landscape out there. So, anyway, I gotta go to McDonald's now and find out if they've been charging me for extra sauce all this time, because I do love my sweet and sour sauce there. So, but there's no way that they've been charging me all this time. I think that's a New York thing or a San Francisco thing. It's one of the two. Anyway, I'm blabbering on too much. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Like, subscribe, do whatever you guys want. And if you've been to the United States or have places that you didn't like that are not in this video, put them in the comments below. Or tell me about places you did like and why. It'll be some interesting reads. So thank you very much. Tell somebody you love them today. And stay safe, Boomerites. Peace out.